Hey guys, it's Steven. Got a Bytes chart update for you here. So we left off on the 4th, which has been obviously almost 10 days now. And as you can see, a very bearish market overall. You've been following crypto at all. You know that the entire market is down considerably. And that doesn't really change for the price of Bytes as well, because it's priced in Ethereum. And as you can see, almost down about 50%, you could call it. As a lot of other altcoins are. So as you can see, we tried to find some support last week, but at the first support, but nothing really happened there. And here we are at the second support for the weekly pivots here. So if you're not familiar with pivots, all you do is you take the highs, the lows, and the close. You calculate those numbers, and it gives you some basically some targets and some support and resistance numbers. And as you can see, we got the first support was here at 314. And then the second one was at this 2.22 area. And we did find some support at that number. But now we're still just hanging out below the first support for this week. So we're pretty far into the week here. So we'll see how this plays out. I think it'll have a lot to do with the overall crypto market. And more importantly is the Bytes to Ethereum chart. This is really where you want to pay more attention, because as the price of Ethereum goes down, that's fine, but the goal is to have your token go up versus the price of Ethereum. So we left off on the 4th here, and we started off at about above the central pivot here. So we did have some opportunity to move higher or move lower, right? So you can use this central pivot. I like to think of it as a bull bear pivot. So if we are moving above this number here, this is obviously very bullish. And then anything below, you basically can have a bearish attitude towards it. So you could see it obviously moved down from here, and tried to find some support here. You can see it tested it a few times and got bought up, but going through the entire bear market, a lot of just selling, and some support here for the Bytes to Ethereum chart here. So these lines here, if you don't know, these are my liquidity pool positions. And since our last video, I did create a Chromatica limit order. So just to kind of go into how that looks on the liquidity chart, in my last video, I talked about how the reason why Bytes were going down so much is because there was just not that much liquidity. And just to quickly, there's not much volume going on right now as well. But for the liquidity, as you can see here, when you have these low liquidity zones, 0.16 worth of Ethereum sold onto the market will move the price about 2%. So that's basically what happened. We started at the top of this range here about 10 days ago, and we've basically sold through all of this support. And we've actually even sold even lower, but below here. So what I've done is I created a Chromatica limit buy order, but it actually hasn't filled. So the reason is because the gas fees have been so high lately that it costs more Chromatica tokens to execute the order. So I'm just on this line where it might execute my order, it might not. But at the end of the day, it's actually not a bad thing, because my position is still here just accumulating fees. So obviously the goal was to buy this dip with this limit order. And ultimately, that is what I'm going to do, whether I just buy more Chromatica and close this position, or just let it execute with low gas fees. Yeah, we're just gonna just let this ride here for a little bit. And overall, we can check in on how much these positions have been making as far as fees here. And the truth is, I started with this was about 8,000 about 10 days ago. So obviously with the entire market down significantly, that's the reason why the assets are down. But it's still giving me fees earned. And yeah, so I've been able to accumulate 121 bytes, $465 worth of Ethereum. And this is at the higher range here from 0.19 to 0.20. So on the chart, this was this range here. So obviously not getting any fees here. I'm just kind of waiting. So that's kind of my hold position. And then I have more closer range numbers here where I was getting some action on these numbers here. So this is from 15 to 16. And if you look at that on the chart, you can see it's this middle range here. And obviously did pretty decent, got a good amount of fees, but now over the last couple of days, we've been kind of below. And that's making the it's making the APR go down because I'm not earning those fees when I'm below my range. But what will happen is as the value of Bytes goes up versus Ethereum, this APR will go higher, and the obviously the value of the tokens that I'm holding will go up as well. So looking forward to that. So this is just kind of on a down situation, but it does show you that, even in a bear market, if you place these liquidity pools in the right spot, you can still make money. And even when the market's going down, you can still have a pretty decent income stream without having to change too much for your strategy. So that's basically it. We're going to keep an eye on this. I'm just going to leave this now, and hopefully that chromatical order right here does fill, and I can accumulate some bytes for cheap. But if not, that's fine too. I'll be, maybe if it goes higher, I'll be able to take out my ETH, or it does fill and I got some cheap bytes. So that's the plan on there. And just to move on, I did want to catch up on the blood token. So obviously moving lower with the overall market, but really what you want to look at is the blood to Ethereum charts. Now, my previous video, I was talking about, this 54 range as being a good value. And then from there, you can kind of extrapolate, if you want to make 30%, you buy it at about 0.000043 ETH. And that's about where we are. So I do think this is a good buying opportunity. Personally, I don't have the liquidity to do that. But I just wanted to point that out, that this is starting to get into a good value range. So let's just keep moving on here. You can check out the blood liquidity and the volume. Not too much going on. We had the current mint for the pets going on right now. So that's probably why we're seeing a little bit more volume pumping up here. And let's see if anybody's really, yeah, you can see there's been no adds to the liquidity pool for 18 days. So nobody's really playing this. I don't blame them. There's not really too much opportunity there. So we'll keep an eye on that. And if you haven't seen, the neotokyo .codes website has been updated. They're going to be going through actually some different things other than this. So just keep an eye on that. And I'll give you some more updates when we do get a full new website refresh here. So to finish off, just over the overall markets like Bitcoin, what do I see happening? In my previous video, it was on the 4th, about over here, and I was still talking about, this was on the 4th, was when we had the Federal Reserve and we had this nice bounce, and I was talking about how I still wanted to have the price move lower. Let me try to reset this here. I did want the price to move lower. I did not think that we would have such a huge dip lower. I thought maybe we'd stabilize in this, 34,000 to 37,000, but obviously a lot of macro things went wrong with the overall market. And that's when we started to see some real tests of the support levels. So I did, update, so taking the high from the previous month, the low and the close, it gives me my pivot points here. So 2560, 2320, and 1850. And if you look at the Ethereum chart here, 2330 is right here, 2560 was up here, and then we had this 1850. So we basically came down and tested the most strongest support, which is the support 3, and that was at 1815, and we had a nice bounce. So we'll see what happens here. Some are expecting a possible dead cat bounce. For me, I just want to make it simple. So for me, I like to use just kind of these bull bear pivots. So I can just be essentially I'll be bearish if we stay below 29.7. So anything below, like right now, it's you have to have a bearish mode. You have to be ready for the price to crash to, whether it's 20 under 25,000 here. That's a very high possibility, or even lower. So if we move above, then you can start to maybe make some trading positions. You can do something with like a 3% stop and be long above 29.7. But as of right now, there's just still a lot of risk in the market. So a lot of uncertainty, especially going into this weekend. So best to just be safe and, just maybe look to the overall markets for some cues on what's going on here. So we did have a nice break higher here today, but starting to see a little bit of a slowdown here. And I think the reason why we were able to have this bounce is because we had a lot of money starting to come back into the bond market. That kind of allowed this bounce to happen. But now again, we're starting to slow down. So just a lot of uncertainty here. So it's especially just kind of just wait and let this play out. So that's how I'm going to be playing this. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will catch you next time.